In early 1940, to train its airmen, the RAF made a film of the Spitfire's daily inspection routine, which fortunately has survived. A Mark I taxis in. The pilot's visibility from a Spitfire on the ground is severely limited by the engine. The airmen are required to guide the machine as it approaches the hangars and other parked aircraft. When this aircraft was engaged in the Battle of Britain a few weeks later, the refuelling and rearming would be a good deal less measured and leisurely. After topping up the 84-gallon fuel tanks, the Spitfire is manhandled into a hangar. In 1940, operational fighters would have been serviced on the airfield, only going into the hangars for major work. Once oxygen became a standard fitting, it didn't take long for aircrew to discover that a few deep breaths of it were an instant cure for a hangover. The mechanic checks the time, adjusts the clock, and winds it. The 5.8-gallon oil tank is topped up. Another airman cleans and checks the undercarriage well. When this film was shot just before the Battle of Britain, the reflector sight was still top secret. The instrument mechanic tests the brightness control of the internal lamp on which the sight depended. 3 spare bulbs are carried in the cockpit. The Spitfire 1 had a control to enable the pilot to lower landing lights fitted under each wing. These powerful lights could also be moved up and down by the pilot. This refinement disappeared on later marks, since Spitfires proved unsuitable for night fighting. The fitter ensures that the fuel filler cap is secure. Next, the fuel gauges for the 2 internal tanks. One contained 48, the other 37 imperial gallons. The airman then checks and cleans the engine radiator intake. In the cockpit, an airframe rigger operates the shutter which controls the radiator temperature. The Form 700 is signed. The daily inspection is complete. This Spitfire bears the code of number 609, West Riding Squadron. 609 was to be heavily engaged in the Battle of Britain, based at Middle Wallop and Warmwell. This unique film was shot in early June 1940 at number 6 Maintenance Unit, Rise Norton. The Spitfire is pushed past a parked Miles Master trainer and an early Hurricane onto the large grass airfield. The light weight, 5,820 pounds, of the Spitfire 1 is evident from the easy way the 5-man handling crew turned the aircraft into wind for an engine run-up. The Spitfire required 2,400 rounds of 303-inch ammunition for its 8 Browning guns. Belts are made up with either armor-piercing, incendiary or ball ammunition. The last 25 rounds were usually tracer to warn the pilot he was running out. Each gun had a 300-round belt, which was loaded into a box magazine. As soon as the fighters landed after action, as soon as the propellers stopped turning, the ground crews were at work. While the aircraft refueled, beneath the wings, the armourers are removing the spent magazines from their stowage. Then they clean the barrels with the traditional 4 by 2-inch patch of flannelette, leaving the guns clean, bright and slightly oiled. The oxygen bottles, too, are changed by the armourers. Fresh 300-round ammunition magazines are brought to the aircraft. Using a length of webbing, the belts are fed through the gun breeches. This simple device enabled the armourers to rearm a Spitfire in less than 10 minutes, instead of the original 20, since they no longer had to remove the 8 access panels on the upper surfaces of the wings. The guns are cocked and the access panels replaced using the patent fastening. As any ex-armourer or rigger will recall, not all panels went back as easily as this one.